two great guests in studio to talk about an upcoming permaculture and soil care workshop. It's Stacie Gilkeson and Kevin Locke from the Orchard Alliance at Shelton United Methodist Church. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Talk Dirt to Me. I like the title of this.
Catchy.
An introduction to permaculture and soil care. It is coming up on Sunday with a potluck lunch at 11:30 and a presentation at noon. Kevin, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about what we're going to expect to hear about this on Sunday.
Well, you know what? I'm going to refer that question to Stacie because she's really our expert.
Very
no,
good.
I'm not. Actually, none of us are super experts, but group of people that want to inspire people to grow food in their yard and really hit home with the point that it's absolutely accessible no matter how much space you have.
Okay.
And then you got to start with your soil health. And we have really rocky soil here in Shelton and Mason County, and some people deal with clay, and so there's a way to just start to nurture that, which is something we have to show with example at the orchard at the church there.
The church on King Street, 1900 King Street is the Shelton United Methodist. So are there specific or unique things that we can here in the county and the city only grow because of our soil types, or is it available with a little bit of TLC, the ability to grow? I've seen some beautiful gardens out there, in both plant and food gardens here in our area. But is there something specific that folks need to look for, or?
Not necessarily. We can grow plenty of different food crops. I mean, a lot of the tropical plants we can't grow yet. The climate hasn't changed that much yet. But as we move into kind of warmer times, people are actually, there's certain varieties of citrus you can start to grow now. Olives, which are not commonly known to be grown here. But
kiwis.
Yeah. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there's a hardy kiwi. And this we're going to be touching, the basics of how to start to build up your soil health and get a lot of the microbes in there so that it's a really functional, healthy soil. And to kind of take away the worry of how alkaline is the soil, what the pH, that you don't need to worry so much about that specifically. That once we can get the soil healthy, you're going to be able to grow a lot of different things. So,
what are some of the first steps? And I'm thinking about my own kind of garden area where we've grown things in the past, and I worry and wonder just about what you're talking about here, the alkalinity, the pH. Is it time to add the lime, or what do you do here because it's winter? But you're saying that is not necessarily something you should really focus on right away,
or you don't want it to be a barrier or a reason to not start. What we did at the Orchard Alliance at SUMC is we laid down cardboard and wood chips, and we dug right into the soil. We added some compost when we first planted the trees there, but then otherwise, with that layer of kind of a sheet mulching thing, and using the idea of permaculture where you're really kind of following the example that nature sets with different layers, and it working cohesively together and sort of cooperatively supporting a little ecosystem there. To kind of take the worry out of, or the anxiety of not starting because you don't know exactly what you're going to do, or the chemical components of your soil.
Yeah, I think it's worth mentioning that, we started, the church had lawns that they were, going through great expense and effort to maintain. And everybody who lives in this area of the country knows maintaining a lawn in the summer is kind of a,
it's tough.
feckless task.
Yeah.
It's tough. And, they never really looked great, though we wanted them to. And with very little effort, which is saying that we just laid down cardboard that we had donated. We got wood chips donated. There have been a lot of people in the community have been great about donating stuff to us. Brady's donated some mushroom compost. Tozier's let his dumpster dive for cardboard. Coda Antiques gave us the cardboard that they had from, their shipping, and we just laid that down, and then we covered it with the wood chips, and we just let it sit there for a month. And when we dug back into that soil, the amount of rejuvenation that had taken place
was really
was
nice.
astounding.
Yeah.
I mean, it had been sort of, just dry, rocky soil, and after a month of sort of giving it a nice blanket and leaving it alone, we dug in there, and it was filled with bugs and worms and just life, lots of life. Without adding any chemicals or doing anything fancy or that takes a tremendous amount of knowledge or effort. We had a big community effort that came, and we have an area that's about 50 by 60 that we're starting with, which was our front lawn, and we just transformed it just by doing a simple thing and letting it wait.
Wow.
I have no green thumb. I kill silk plants, so that's how bad I am. Explain to me the cardboard. That's to keep it dark and the moisture to build up underneath. Is that what the cardboard layer is?
It essentially will help keep or kill out any grass or
the weeds that are trying to pop out. Okay.
So you lay a couple layers of cardboard
like
down.
a barrier.
Yeah,
Okay.
a barrier. And so what that allows, it also retains the moisture. Because the great thing about permaculture and starting this way is how drought tolerant it is, and how much moisture, and especially over the winter with these new baby trees, and their little young root systems to protect them from the cold, and how much warmth and moisture you can retain in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And another thing that we're learning and also trying to help other people become aware of, which I think is a lot of fun, is we don't call weeds anymore. We call them pollinators. Weeds are good. We're not trying to fight the weeds.
Yeah.
Let it grow up. We've gone from what was a pretty manicured lawn to something that when you first look at it now might look a little chaotic, but it's really it's a natural beauty. There's a natural beauty to it, and those weeds that grow up are going to be there to feed our wonderful mason bees that we have in this area, and be real pollinators and help reestablish the bee colonies, which is really, really important as a big need right now, and is also a part of permaculture, is to nurture not only the plants but the whole ecosystem, because the whole idea of permaculture is that everything in creation is important. And we want to be stewards of all of it. Weeds are our friends.
So we talked a little bit about some of the non-traditional fruits and veggies. You mentioned kiwi and olives and things like that. Sometimes when we have guests on with gardens, they'll talk about native plants. What are some of the native fruits and vegetables that really do well for themselves in our current climate and area?
Washington's a big apple producer, so we definitely have apples and pears and plums planted.
All kinds of berries.
Yeah,
Berries.
So as far as native plants, if people look around the yards, in salal, evergreen huckleberry, even serviceberry, these are all things that are actually edible, especially when we incorporate, a little bit of human interaction with that to really, create an ecosystem that everything's working together. So
I know what you're talking about here is like when I'm looking at something, what do they call it? It's like an analysis paralysis, right? I'll sit there, it'll be the first of the month, and I'll go, I should probably be doing something with my garden area. So then I'll get online and I'll start looking, and then I'll get down in some sort of rabbit hole saying, well, you got to make sure your things are at this certain level, or you got to make sure your pH balance is, and then by the next thing I know, it's the next month, and I haven't done anything, and I've missed perhaps my window. What's it like on these windows? Here we are moving into December, but is it still a time where we can be planting things?
absolutely, like right now is still a great time. I think any time that you, if you're
do
here
it
now, do it now. Yeah, but you can still definitely, we want to inspire people to this week. Put down some cardboard, find some mulch or chips, you can mulch up your leaves that are dropping from your trees and use that on top, even just cardboard bare minimum, a couple layers of that to start. And then next spring, your soil is going to be greatly improved just by that little bit of activity there. So start now.
Yeah, and we're working with the soil is gardening. Gardening isn't just planting things. So now when it seems maybe like an inobvious time to go, plant some pretty things, but now is the time to be working on your soil, so that's ready to go. So when that prime planting time comes in the spring, that's done, and it's had the time for the ecosystem to do its work.
Tell me about Amy Hafer and James Landreth, who'll be doing this presentation on Sunday.
They're our fearless volunteers. James is sort of our gardening guide. He's working with several different different Methodist churches in the region. That's what he's decided to do, is get these things started. Amy's got a lot of experience with growing and permaculture, and so they're just going to try and make it very approachable for people, and really hopefully get people to know that they can start doing this right now, no matter what amount of space they have. That knowing about soil health is going to be the best place to start.
Yeah, James maintains a multi-acre property just south of Chehalis, where he has his own permaculture farm. This is his passion in life, and his mission is to just outreach into communities and communicate this to as many people as he can. So he's really our guide. He was the one that originally approached us with the possibility of doing this, and it just made a lot of sense to us.
Do we need to call ahead, or just show up at 11:30 for the lunch, or noon for the presentation, or?
Please just show up.
Just show up.
Drop in.
It is a potluck, but we want everyone to come, regardless of whether or not they're bringing food to share. We're going to have food provided, but it's just a chance to know that we're that resource there for information.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And this is going to be the beginning of a series of workshops that we're going to be doing, especially throughout these winter months when people aren't out gardening, but give them some information to prepare. We'll be doing another one in February on mason bees and nurturing bee colonies.
Oh, nice. Shelton United Methodist Church is 1900 King Street in Shelton. You can find more information, and we'll put the links to this event page from Facebook on this interview when we post it. Again, it's Sunday from 11:30 to 1. Kevin, Stacie, thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much for having us.